So this can be any being that we've been deeply moved by. I think they can be alive. They can be someone living, someone who's passed on, someone in history. And again, this has become a really important practice for me because it helps me, for instance, when Bell Hooks passed on, and Bell Hooks is someone who's really influenced many of us doing this work. Everyone's like, oh my God, she's lost. Her work is lost. No, like the energy of her work is still present. I wonder what we can do to connect even more to that. Like, what does it mean just to sit and open our minds to the wisdom and the intellect and the love, really, of someone like Bell Hooks or anyone? And what does that mean just to sit and experience that instead of feeling like something has been lost? That they created something that's still present, right? So take a moment before we really begin getting into this practice. Take a moment. Who's that person for you? Now let's just stick with one person to begin with. Who's someone, again, you're deeply moved by, you admire, and what is it about them that moves you? Because often that's what we're lacking, or that's the quality that we want more in our lives, is that thing. Like, I want that intellect of Bell Hooks. But I'm gonna use Andre Leon Talley. Like, like the orientation towards beauty, permission, authenticity, which are things that I want to cultivate more for me. And it's the energy that we're getting into. What is that energy? What is that particular energy? Maybe someone that's like really sassy and audacious, like maybe that you want that. How do you call that in? So this is what we're going to be doing, right? Bring that person to mind, or just think about that person. Our being, you can do teachers, spiritual teachers here, deities, the earth. Again, like we did that kind of with the earth in the first part of the day. But literally, sometimes when I'm struggling to be well, I just think, okay, what would so-and-so do here? Walking around in just walking around and saying, oh, do I deserve this? Or do I deserve that? I would say, what would Andre Leon Talley do? What would he think? Is anyone struggling to think of someone? Some help. Sometimes we use the terms like role model or, but mentors, right? Your hero, heroine. It sounds like drugs, that's why I never use it. It's like, why? Okay, anyway. Another thing. And the practice of opening to these beings should be really easy, or what we like to say, easeful. So as you think about that, here's another image I'll give you too, which has helped me to practice opening, which is imagining that you're a flower. Doesn't get any gayer than this right now. So, hang in there with me. So imagining that, well, you can imagine that you are a flower, or in your heart center is a flower. Those of you who set retreat with me, you've already done a part of this before, but there is this image of a closed flower, a bud that opens, that I want us to really like open into, expand into. Again, it can be a closed flower in your heart, or even just imagine yourself being a large closed flower. But your favorite flower. What's your favorite flower? We did this last night. And I like using flowers because it's something that's delicate. And I want us to understand that we're delicate, and therefore we deserve to be handled with care. We deserve to be nourished with, sunlight and water, what have you. We're, beautiful, radiant. So if you have those things, those elements set up, we'll go into the formal practice. And we're just going to keep it real easy here. Okay? So again, beginning with just shifting your attention to the weights of your body, making contact with the seat, allowing the seat to rise to meet you. And again, connecting to the earth under us, acknowledging the earth, and again, allowing the earth to rise to hold us and everyone, really. Connecting to the energy of the earth. And feeling that energy of the earth rising up inside of us. And so I invite you to begin to call your person into the space, whom I will refer to now as your benefactor. Calling this person or this being into the space with you. You can imagine them, maybe sitting in front of you or beside you. And then we begin again to think about the qualities of this being that we want to cultivate for ourselves. What do we need from this being? Why do we love this being in the way that we do? And slowly, we begin to imagine that our benefactors begin to radiate this quality as energy to us and around us. So we begin to be enveloped by this energetic quality from our benefactor. So another way of imagining this is that our benefactor begins to glow with this energy, this quality, and that glow becomes wider and more expansive until we're wrapped up in it. And we're held by this energy. And you don't have to see anything clearly or imagine everything perfectly. Just having a sense or a belief that this is happening is enough. That your benefactor, mentor, is just radiating this energy around us. And slowly this energy begins to be absorbed into our bodies, to our skin and bone, muscle, tissue, organs. We begin to imagine how our lives begin to change now that this quality, this energy is being deeply absorbed in our bodies and minds. You can also begin to imagine that you share this energy out to anyone who you also may think needs this particular quality, this particular energy that you're getting from your benefactor. And so you can choose to stay where you're at. Um, I would like to also offer kind of the second part of this practice, or maybe the alternative part of this practice, going back to the flower. We can imagine the closed flower in our heart centers, or as I like to imagine, just like a flower in general, a closed flower. And so our benefactor, we begin to imagine them as like the sun, radiating the light of the qualities that we most admired about them. And the warmth and light of that radiance begins to touch me as this closed lotus, or the closed lotus, or the closed flower in my heart center. And beginning to absorb that energy, that warmth, I'm imagining, begin to imagine me blooming, awakening, the petals opening to absorb even more of this energy radiating from my benefactor. And what is your experience of just opening, blooming, expanding, and taking in this energy? So when you're ready, just shifting your attention back to the seat. Just noticing the seat rising to meet you and to hold you. And we turn our attention again back to our benefactor and we thank them for offering to us. We just invite them to return back to where they came from. We just allow ourselves to come back into the space. And just still being held by this energy. And begin to reawaken our bodies. Okay. I really like that practice. And it just helps me to connect just to this really rich history that we come from. I don't feel so separate from all these people, that, I've read about and studied. I can just connect and say, oh, like I can call you. Yeah.